Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a rundown on what cards I think you should be on the lookout for with the upcoming set, the Hunted, coming out. I want to kind of give you some cards that have been released in the past, which ones maybe you should pick up, which ones you should maybe hold off a little bit on, specifically with the Assassin and Ninja sets as a whole, or classes as a whole. So hopefully this helps you out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below, as well as the channel membership, the Discord especially. So before I get into my video, hopefully I can get this right. LSS was so amazingly provided a lot of the creators with these Scarf promos that are UPF focused, right? Where when this attacks a hero, exchange a head equipment permanent with them. If you do, it gets go again. So it's a fun little UPF piece. A lot of people have been wanting them. So if you're interested in one of those promos, I'm going to periodically be doing giveaways on my videos. And all you have to do to enter is comment down below with what videos you want me to make during the Hunted set. I'm super excited about it because we're going to get a lot of Assassin stuff, a lot of Ninja stuff. Apparently we're getting a Katsu expansion slot card to speak at Kuala Lumpur weekend, or at least spoiled. So I want to know what videos you want me to make. So help me help you. Comment down below. Please, if you're wanting to enter in this giveaway, please join the Discord as well, because when you make your comment down below on what you want me to make from a video perspective, also just put in your Discord username as it is shown in my Discord. That way I can reach out to you when and if you win, and we can have some fun with it. Hopefully that made sense. If it did, again, just leave a comment down below. We'll have a good time. And yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm going to bring up this. Some of these I'm going to tell you to hold off on. Some of these I'm really excited about. But overall, I think Assassin Ninja are going to be going into that Dagger archetype, or at least utilizing daggers a little bit more, which I'm super excited about. A lot of these cards people have kind of thought as were fringe or kind of out of place in reference to like just the mainstay cards, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But the first one is Black Tech Whispers. So this is the one card that I think you most need to hold off on. One, because it's a pretty expensive card. I think the Rainbow Foil now is like $40 some. Cold Foil is even more expensive at the time of recording this video, which is like at the beginning of December. And the reason I would say hold off on it, one reason is because of this hero above me. Arachne Slipped Through the Cracks. As you know, they basically pseudo redid Arachne Solitary Confinement's ability, but in CC form, except Arachne Slipped Through the Crack says the first attack with stealth each turn gets go again, not your first attack. I think they did that for the agent perspective, but we'll talk about that in a different video. Regardless, Black Tech Whispers, although still very good and you can run it, is not necessarily as needed already for Slip Through the Cracks, and we don't know what the fourth hero's ability is going to be yet. It's likely to be an Assassin hero. However, we don't know how they're going to interact with Go Again, how they're going to interact with Stealth, things of that nature. So I would hold off on Black Tech Whispers. Let's see what this last hero does, because Slip Through the Cracks, you definitely can get away with not running Black Tech Whispers. Yes, you can use it for like contract cards or stuff like that, but Slip Through the Cracks, similar to Solitary Confinement, is going to want to run a lot of Stealth for Go Again with on hits. Also, it's going to want to run a couple of the major contract cards like RA Dead, Surgical Extraction, Eradicate, Leave No Witnesses, but you're going to mainly want to switch back and forth. And we've already also seen some dual contract stealth cards spoiled, which we'll talk about that here in a second. And so all that being said, I'd wait on Black Tech Whispers. Not as a bad card or not needed, but bang for your buck, I'd wait a little bit. So there's that. Next one's Coercive Tendency. If you have any interest in just playing Arachne in general, I think you pick this card up. Even if you're most interested in Arachne Slip Through the Cracks, this card still is going to be very good. You know, it's an unconditional banish a card, which could be very useful for things like Regicide, things like when you mark a hero, you know, being able to get rid of cards that they care the most about. This card just does a lot of different things. It's a blue block 3, doesn't cost anything to play, even has some minor synergies with cards like Bonds of Agony, because it counts as a reaction on top of Bonds of Agony, so it's really good for that. This card's just really, really good. Whether you're playing Arachne Huntsman, the original one, or you're going to be playing any of the other new ones that are going to be hitting in Hunted, I definitely think you should pick up this card. It's an amazing card. Very, very good. Right now, at the time of recording, I'm pretty sure they're like $7 a piece, which for what this card is for the Arachne Heroes specifically, I think it's worth it. Very, very good pickup. The next one is Conceal Blade. Conceal Blade is going to be really interesting. The card's like decently expensive right now. I think it's almost like $10 a piece at the time of me recording this. I should have looked this up beforehand, but I just want to look it up really fast because this card specifically is a little bit more like, yeah, it's $10 a piece right now at the time of recording this, which is a good amount of money. The card is very good. Target assassin or ninja attack action card gains +1, and when it hits, equip a dagger from your inventory. Now, the reason I want to bring this card up is it is an assassin and a ninja attack reaction. In terms of an assassin, it fits a lot more streamlined because it's a blue block 3 that, you know, you're flicking away daggers as an assassin. However, most of the time, like when this card first came out, it was really useful because you'd start with like a nerve scalpel in your main weapon slot, and then you do that play where you flick knives a nerve scalpel in response to like a sink below, so it didn't quite cover up the attack. Then you could Conceal Blade later and go get a Scale Peeler in your inventory. That way you don't miss a dagger. Even though the Scale Peeler might not be the most applicable in that matchup, you still have 2 daggers again, which it can be very useful. Nowadays, especially for Arachne specifically, and we're going back to traditional assassin with a lot of this, it seems like not so much new. You're really running Graven Call and flicking it away and then bringing it back, which we'll talk about here in a second. So Conceal Blade's like second ability of bringing a dagger from inventory isn't as useful. Where this card might be really good is in Syndra. It might end up being good. She cares about, you know, flicking her daggers away in whatever way. There might be more than just flick knives. Flicking her daggers away and then bringing them back from the grave. So you might not actually want this card, right? This card might fill up an inventory slot that you, or fill up a weapon slot from your inventory that you don't want filled up because you want to bring cards back from the grave. But it might be worth having 1 or 2. I personally maybe might wait and see a little bit on this card. It's always stayed at a decent price. Like, it's always been like the $5 to $10 range. But right now it's $10, and just judging once I click on this, just judging off of it, at one point it was like a $3 card, a $2 card. Now it's a $10 card. I'd wait a little bit, see if it jumps down to maybe like 7 or 8 again, and then go from there, because I just don't quite think its ability synergizes with what you're trying to do with these heroes so far. And yeah, just if you have it, you have it, keep it. If not, you can wait a little bit on this card. Next one is Flick Knives. This card's probably going to be required, at least so far, to play these heroes. It works so well with what both are trying to do. Syndra, she might have something different. I am comfortable right now taking a shot of the dark of saying that this card is going to be really good in Syndra. I know it's already going to be good in Arachne. Card's very good for the Graven Call interaction. Being able to flick away Graven Call so you can bring it back once you get 2 silver, and then being able to attack for 2 with Graven Call. It's really good with Nerve Scalpel to help a D-React not cover up, things like that. And then if the agents, or we don't know how all those are going to interact with our equipment and our weapon slots, but it could have some interaction with that as well. So on the assassin side, it's amazing. And then on the Syndra side, I think it's pretty safe to assume flicking away your daggers to put them in grave to then use Syndra's ability to go back and get them, or her passive ability to go back and get them. I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's definitely worth it in terms of just overall use. So I definitely would take a look at this card. So there's that. The next one's more of a common card. We're going to start getting into the more casual cards here. Hurl looks like it's going to be pretty good. We'll see. This is going to cost you pennies on the dollar. Definitely think you should pick up a play set of these at red at least. As an additional cost to play Hurl, you may pay 1. When you do, it gains when this attacks, the dagger you control deals 1 damage to target hero. If it is dealt this way, the dagger is hit. Destroy the dagger. So this could be really cool because Syndra's going to care about using fealty tokens to make things draconic. And then if things are draconic, they get like certain bonuses. And however many draconic links you have is what helps you bring daggers back. So you could get into these cool turns where you're like, I don't know, I'm just saying something random, but like Brand with Cinder Claw, dagger, you flick away the second dagger, then you play Hurl, paying 1, flick away you flick away the first dagger after you play the second dagger. Play a hurl, flick away the other dagger, then you use Syndra's and use a fealty token on hurl to make it draconic, so you're at 4 links now. Then you bring back your daggers or something like that later in the turn. Then you attack with them again potentially somehow. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is I could see turns where you're flicking away your daggers multiple times through multiple different ways, and you maybe might get these like 5, 6, 7, 8 long chain links, and then end on like a salt wound, right? So I think that hurl might end up being useful for that. It might end up being nothing. It might not be what you want, but overall, I think it's a card to at least keep an eye on if you want to. And it's pennies on the dollar. Like, a play set of these is going to cost you less than $1. You're going to pay literally for the shipping if you get on like TCG Player, MinMax, or your local game store if they have a community box. I guarantee you this rare is probably sitting in there if it's even a decent sized community box. So definitely take a look at these. Next one is Knives Out, and this one's going to be really interesting. So this one is technically still a wait and see in the current moment because we don't know how useful it's going to be. People have been playing this kind of as a cutesy card in IRA. Right now the card is $4 a piece at the time of recording this video. People basically have been playing this as a cutesy card in IRA because it allows your first dagger to be for 2, your second dagger to be for 3. But in Syndra specifically, this card, I could see it being useful. If we can get to a game state where Syndra is attacking with the same daggers like 4 to 5 times a turn, like, you're going to start to get really good value from this, right? Like, if you attack with daggers 4 times in a turn and you play Knives Out to start the turn, or as a reaction not to start the turn, but on the first dagger, you know, all of a sudden you have a blue reaction that costs nothing to play that blocks 3 that's getting you +4 value. That's pretty significant, right? So we'll see. Draconic is normally really red line, but this might be one of the few blues you run. So I think this card's really good. I would pick it up. I like this card in general. Like, I'm a little bit more favored to it. But for Syndra specifically, I could see it being really, really good. For Arachne, it's not as useful, or at least for Assassin so far. It might end up being more useful, but really for the Syndra side is where I would care about this card the most. So there's that. Then we have Regicide. You have to bring this up. This is the most thematic card ever. In UPF, side note, if you have Scarf for a Scarf, you could run Crown of Dominion and then Scarf for a Scarf, switching the headpiece, making your one of your opponents royal, and then attack with them with Regicide later. That's just a funny tidbit. The reason I brought this card up is, one, it's cool. I love this card, everything about it, even though it is an all or nothing, literally an all or nothing card, and isn't the most competitively viable card all the time. One, all of the heroes, at least all of the Draconic heroes in this set upcoming for Hunted, are royal. Both Fang and Syndra are royal, so it does have an applicability there. So if it hits them, you know, they lose the game, period. If you're using cards like, again, like Course of Tendency and stuff like that to banish really consistently, this card can be turned on a lot easier than you think. You know, but also I wanted to bring this up because the blackout version is like $120 right now. I'm waiting for that card to go down. It should not be that much money. There's not a blackout version, but kind of like a darker, like foil version that's like $10 or something like that. I highly suggest you get it. If you're gonna play Arachne and you think play Arachne for even a decently long time, having one of these, doesn't have to be the blackout version, but just having one of these in your deck is just super fun, and I highly recommend it. The next one is Spreading Plague. So I bring this card up specifically for Arachne Slip Through the Cracks. This card can be very, very good because of the interaction that giving your first stealth attack has on a lot of people. So you'll have situations whether you're running Redback Shroud, which a lot of people run in Blitz. I don't know if that'll be run as much in CC. It's actually not in the list of cards I'm talking about today. But let's say you're on Tunic and you have Tunic counter up, you know, and you play like Infiltrate for 3 and you have 1 card left in hand. People sometimes don't know if it's a 0 for 4 contract. They don't know if it's another stealth card. And when you were playing Solitary Confinement, you know that Infiltrate has Go Again, so people don't know how to play around it. And when you start to get low life totals, people end up like thinking you have a Shred or a Razor's Edge or something like that, and they overblock heavily. They're like, okay, I'm gonna block 6. I'm gonna at least get around the stealth reactions and block 6. And then all of a sudden you Spreading Plague, and they now have 2 Blood Rot Pox tokens. Or you have certain situations where you just throw a Surgical at them with 3 cards in hand, and they're like, oh crap, they probably have a Shred and a Cut to the Chase. And you'll see people block like 7 to 9. Like they'll block with 2 cards from hand and a piece of equipment or something like that, or 2 cards from hand, a piece of equipment, and maybe a defense reaction, I don't know, whatever, because you passed, or they jump the gun and try to play it, and you get like 3 to 4 Blood Rot Pox tokens. It's a very, very good card, and in any assassin where Go Again is more prevalent, it becomes even better because they don't know what you're going to be doing. And then, if let's say you play 2 of these in your deck, and you play one early, and you get like 3 Blood Rot Pox tokens off of it, then late game you really put your opponent in a weird spot. They're like, okay, I don't want to commit my whole hand to block this card here, even though I'm scared of this on hit like Surgical or Infiltrate or something like that, but at the same time I don't want to let it just hit. So you and then you might have a normal reaction and they blocked Xaxes, and then you shred it and you hit anyway. So really, really good card. I think it has a lot more synergy with more action point oriented assassins. So I definitely think you should take a look at it. It'll be really good. And yeah, pick it up. I think it's really good. Next one is Stab Wound. This one's really interesting. Again, this is more where my brain's ticking for Syndra. When this hits hero, they lose X life, where X is the number of times a dagger has hit this combat chain. I'm just thinking of times if Syndra ever gets to have semi combo turns where she's throwing her daggers 5-6 times, and then you end with a Stab Wound, maybe after they've committed their whole hand just trying to block out after you're dealing maybe it's like a 25 damage turn or something like that, 25 damage turn off of 7-8 chain links, and you've had daggers hit 4, 5, 6 times. All of a sudden the Stab Wound's going to be dealing 6 to them if they don't have anything else to block with. It's not like an auto-include must-have, but I think it's going to be really, really good for a hero that cares about hitting with her daggers a lot. So for Syndra specifically, I think this would be a really, really cool card to include alongside Knives Out, and gives you a little bit more versatility with that dagger archetype. Next one that's not a ninja or assassin card, that all you got. This card's going to be money in the next set. If you don't have a play set of these, I highly suggest getting it. As I'm looking at this, let's see what the price is on these, because I guarantee it's decent. It's only $750. Honestly, if you're playing this game semi-competitively and you don't have a playset of these, I would get a playset right now. All three heroes that have been shown are going to care about this card because they're all going to want to run daggers. And this card just gives you card value, card agency, right, in those matchups. So definitely highly suggest you run this card. If you don't already have it, pick it up. Next one is my spoiler card, Graven Call. If we care about flicking away daggers, this could be a really, really good inclusion. This card has rose in popularity more and more in Arachne players as time has gone on, and it eventually became almost like a main board dagger into most deck lists. So definitely give it a shot. I think it's really good. In Arachne Slip Through the Cracks or Solitary Confinement list, it's not as useful because you're not making that silver. However, we'll talk about interaction here in a second. Actually, is it the next one? It's not the next one yet. But when we talk about Payday and Silver Generation, I think it will be. I would get this card. I think it's really, really good. I think it's going to be really easy to turn on in Slip Through the Cracks and any other action point, heavier assassin, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. Then we have Salt the Wound. It's going to be really good in Syndra. I put this in specifically for Syndra. If she's hitting for 7-8 links because she's throwing her daggers and bringing her back, throwing her daggers, bringing her back, this card could eventually come in for a bunch. It came in, we saw it with Phi, right, with pouncing links. It's a really good pouncing links target. I think it's going to be the same way for Syndra specifically. So definitely take a look at this card. And then we have Payday. So Payday says, if you've completed a contract this turn, create 4 silver tokens. This is a card that most every assassin player has loved, but has never been able to run because it's not consistent, because it doesn't have Go Again. And it's an action card with note that doesn't have Go Again, and you have to have played a contract card, given that contract card Go Again somehow, and it also has to have fulfilled. It's let's say you play a Plunder the Poor. That Plunder the Poor has to hit, and fulfill its contract and get go again, then you play this and create 4 silver tokens. It just wasn't quite worth it, even though everyone loved to play it. But with Arachne Slip Through the Cracks specifically, the first attack with stealth each turn gets go again. Now, how does that correlate with Payday, you say? Well, I'm going to bring this up really fast. We're already seeing cards in the hunted like Defang the Dragon. Now, this one isn't as CC playable, right, as you would think, because it's really specific. But if you notice, it has stealth and contract on it. So it says you are contracted to hit a marked hero named Fang. Whenever you complete this contract, draw a card. Now, if we end up getting dual stealth and contract cards that are more open, right? Like you are contracted to hit a marked hero that is Guardian or that is Draconic. If you do, the X happens. All of a sudden, especially the Arachne Slip Through the Cracks, Payday becomes a heck of a lot more viable because it's going to get go again because Arachne Slip Through the Cracks ability, but it also has contract on it. And if you fill that contract, all of a sudden you have a lot more synergy with Payday because that card's going to naturally have go again from Slip Through the Cracks ability, but also the ability to fulfill a contract, you know, without having to pop Black Tech Whispers or Snapdragon Skillers or whatever. So I think Payday might end up being if we can see even like 3 relevant dual stealth contract cards, Payday is going to be very, very profitable, no pun intended, and getting that 4 silver is going to be really nice for cards like Gravencall. You can turn on Gravencall almost immediately, right, and be able to buy back something else. Also might make cards like Redback Shroud a lot more consistent. Not saying it's going to be a mainstay over Tunic, but it would make the card a lot more consistent, because if you're running 3 of these Paydays, right, you can stack silver very, very quickly. I mean, turn 1, if you fulfill a contract somehow, because you think about it, there's going to be some really cool synergy with cards like Coercive Tendency. I mean, if we just, I'm gonna pull this down here and kind of do this on the fly, if y'all will forgive me for this. But if we can get dual cards like this that have stealth and contract on them, that means we're able to fulfill Payday a lot easier with go again from Slip Through the Cracks, but we're also able to fulfill Coercive Tendencies ability a lot better. So let's say you you play a stealth contract with Slip Through the Cracks that says you are contracted to hit a marked hero, just to say that, and it's probably not going to be that hard to mark a hero in this set because that's the whole mechanic point. Then you play Coercive Tendency on top of it, or something like that. Or if it just says, you're contracted to maybe hit a Guardian, and they're like, okay, I'm not gonna block this. It's not a valuable enough on hit for me to block it. I don't care. You play Coercive Tendency, you find the contract you need to find, banish it, complete the contract. Stealth already has go again with Slip Through the Cracks. Then you're able to then play Payday and make 4 silver, right? And then you also, maybe even if you're playing an original contract card like Plunder the Poor, and then you play Coercive Tendency on top of it, fulfill the contract, give Plunder the Poor go again because of Coercive Tendency's ability, make a silver. Then you play Payday, make 4 silver. All of a sudden, turn 1, you've made like 5 silver, right? Like if your opening hand was Plunder the Poor, Coercive Tendency, Payday, and something else like another 0 for 4, like Slay the Scholars or something, and you're playing a deck like Aurora that is running all cost 1 or less cards, that first hand, you're literally going to be making like 6 to 8 silver. It's really easy to do it. So, and if we start getting cards that have stealth and contract on them and naturally have go again through Slip Through the Cracks ability, it's just going to kind of, cycle on itself. So a lot of rambling, a lot of random theories. However, I think Payday could be a lot more useful, and the card is pennies on the dollar. I guarantee it right now. Like, this card is just not as played. It's 31 cents right now. There is no reason not to pick up this card. It may turn out to be nothing, but I think it's a really cool card, and I think it's going to have a lot more applicability with Slip Through the Cracks if we get those dual stealth and contract cards. But hopefully this made sense. Hopefully my ramblings were good enough. I think a lot of these were kind of obvious picks for the most part, but some people aren't as used to the Dagger archetypes. Like I said, I think the big ones to look at, because I have notes down here when I was doing it. I think Knives Out's going to be really good for Syndra. I think that's the biggest one. If you're more on the Assassin archetype and you care about that, I think picking up Coercive Tendency is going to be really good. I think picking up Flick Knives in general is going to be really good for you. And then finally, I think Payday is kind of a sleeper one. So hopefully this made sense. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. If not, it's completely fine. Go to our creator, do the same thing for them. But if you do want to enter in the scarf for a scarf giveaway, again, let me know what videos you want to see in the hunted down below. Tell me your Discord name so I can reach out to you, and we'll get that going. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully you'll have a great rest of your week. Hopefully you're staying safe, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank you all so much.